Hello and welcome to Your Coaching Journey, a podcast for doctors about coaching. Whether you're a coaching doctor, a doctor who is learning to coach, or a doctor who'd like to build coaching into your professional life, then this is the podcast for you.
Hi, I'm Helen Leathers, and with me today is not my co-host and business partner, Tom Dillon, but I am very pleased to be joined by the wonderful Dr SaraLou Wylie. So hello, SaraLou.
Hello, hi everyone. It's great to be here.
It's lovely to have you here, and we're going to have a bit of a chat with SaraLou Wylie about her being a coaching doctor. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So just very quickly, we'll come on to your work and your hobbies and interests and the coaching stuff. But just for our listeners, where are you based, SaraLou?
So I am in Sheffield. I'm in Sheffield in the UK, and it is currently gloriously sunny. It's the hottest day of the year thus far. So aren't we lucky?
That's fabulous. It is also sunny here in the Midlands, and we just actually had a bit of thunder, so I'm hoping we don't get that recording.
But yeah, very atmospheric.
Yes. So let me just do a quick introduction, because I've got a bit of a bio from you here. So for our listeners, Dr SaraLou is a certified women's life coach, a GP, a yogi, who specialises in coaching professional women with overwhelm, burnout and stress. And SaraLou's holistic approach helps them to regain control of their lives, feel like them again, and live life with joy and presence.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, sign me up, I'm thinking.
And right up my street, absolutely, the sort of coaching that I love to do as well.
Yeah. I think we've got a very similar vibe, haven't we, for sure?
Yeah, absolutely. And you completed your coach training with us a little while ago.
That's right.
So we'll come on to the coach training in a bit, but once you'd completed that, how did you get started in coaching as a career?
Yeah, really good question. I mean, what a journey. Not to use the cheesy phrase, but it is a humongous journey, isn't it? So I think as medics, we are very much on a treadmill where everything's laid out, the path is laid out in front of us. And I very much wanted to make coaching my main job. I wanted to create my own business. And I didn't really know where to get started with that. So because the path it's not an obvious path, is it? You make it up as you go along, mostly. But what I did was my coaching training with you guys, which was amazing. And at the start of that, I also signed on to do some work with Jo Watkins as well, Dr. Jo Watkins, who helps medics set up their entrepreneurial business. She does a startup academy. And so I started up with her and found that community and support, and really just started from there, just chipping away at it and learning that to set up your coaching business, it's all about systems. So if you want to get to the bit that you love doing, which is the coaching, there's the systems to set up in the background as well. So chipping away at that bit by bit, and doing it alongside the coaching, just so I could keep that in mind. That was my goal to do all along. Because like with all new things, I think particularly as medics, we really grab it with both hands, don't we? We just think, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do it really, really well. I'm going to do it really perfectly, and then it'll all be done. But actually, you don't get that with an entrepreneurial journey. And so you have to start leaning into this discomfort of not necessarily knowing what's going to happen when you do something or what will come next. And so I would say a lot of inner work was done along the way at creating this coaching business, but it has been absolutely amazing. I finished my training in December. So December 23. And yeah, the dream I had about doing this as my main job has come true. So I know we will get onto that later, but it is all possible, isn't it?
Yeah. So, well, let's get on to that now. How are you using coaching? What's happening?
How am I using coaching? So you can't help but start using coaching as soon as you start your coaching diploma, because it's just so amazing. And you learn something new every week, every workshop, when you're doing your homework, when you're doing your self-reflection. So I think I've probably been using it right from the start with my husband as a bit of a guinea pig. So it really does creep into everyday life. It's what amazing tools to be able to bring to your everyday life and your relationships. And I brought it into GP really early on as well. It did mean that some consultations went a little bit longer than the system wanted, but you know, I think it did exactly what those patients needed. So with the coaching, what I'm doing now is the majority of my work is one-to-one. So I offer a package of sessions. I have 6 sessions currently for women who are professional, really stressed, really overwhelmed and burnt out, to teach them the tools to coach them back to their well-being. But I also do run a group program, which I'm going to be starting again in the autumn, which is really exciting. I've got a new bootcamp style coming through. And yeah, so the coaching is very much being used with my clients at the moment, and to great effect. I'm seeing such joy and such amazing results with these women who are coming so motivated, so ready to do the work, really ready to take back control of their lives, to just feel like they're on that hamster wheel or that treadmill. They're coming from all different walks of life, but everyone's got the same background story of stress, overwhelm, people-pleasing, perfectionism, which will lead into some of my favourite tools that I like to use as well. So although the themes can be really similar, the story is really unique. And to have coaching give that space, all that time to someone, and get that story aired and worked through and do some problem solving, it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I love it. And that still is a bit of a guinea pig at times when I try a new tool out.
And when you say do some problem solving, I mean, what a change from GP land, where you're the one doing the problem solving, and now you're facilitating that client doing their own problem solving.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the biggest learning curves, I think, as medics, particularly GP. You know, we're so time pressured, and patients come to us for the answer, don't they? So sometimes, you know, we're taught to ask them what they're hoping for, what they would like to happen. And so often the response is, well, I don't know, you're the doctor. They're there for your knowledge to solve this thing, you know, 1 + 2 = 3. But actually, so often in life, we need that holistic approach, viewing someone's unique life in all its multifaceted, you know, layers and complexities. That to do that justice, we had to allow them to do the problem solving. And I really remember you guys at the start of the diploma said, we know you are all really good listeners as doctors. However, you're going to get even better, because it turns out, you know, real listening. So like you say, the listening to generate new thoughts for the person is very, very different than listening for a minute to then go on and say, right, what we're going to do is this.
Yes.
Because as we know, you know, we see it amongst our patients, and I see the opposite with the clients, that if we allow them to explore it for themselves and support them and give them that guidance and nurture and, you know, help along the way by bringing these tools into it, that actually the change that they need is going to happen. And it's going to happen because it's come from within them, as opposed to us saying, well, obviously you just need to do X, Y, Z. So it's a big change. Yeah, big change.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're embracing that change.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I felt very unsatisfied in my GP consultations, because I just think there's so much more we can do for someone. I still am practicing as a GP, and so to be able to bring these tools into it is amazing when you've got that relationship with someone over a longer period of time. But yeah, it's really fulfilling to see someone really flourish in the sessions and be able to show up for themselves and to support them during that. It's amazing work. Very much fills my cup up, for sure.
Lovely. That's great to hear. So you mentioned there about some tools and some questions. So we always ask our coaching doctors, what's your current favourite tool?
I like that you said current. So when you sent me the questions, I was like, oh gosh, how do I choose? How do I choose which one I'm going to do? And you're right. There's always a cluster that we use a little bit more, and then maybe that'll change. So with my clients, I don't send them out you know, after session 1 we'll do this, after session 2 we'll do that, because it's very much allowing them to have their journey and the flow through it. But the 2 that come up time and time again are ones I think are so powerful for this group of women. So one of them is the strengths exercise. So we have this group of women who are so successful, highly professional women in high demand, high responsibility jobs, and yet they have really low self-esteem, low sense of self-worth, and not much belief that they can do anything, you know, to change their situation. They're very much feeling in the trenches with it all, and really, you know, stuck in a rut. And to actually facilitate them starting to celebrate their strengths, and maybe to even identify them for the first time, and to actually get them to write it down, it's so powerful. And the one that I think is always so interesting, you know, in the grid is what is the one that's really underplayed? So what do you not use, and why do you not use it? It's always the story behind it. Why aren't you using that? Because some of the women will, you know, will put in, well, actually, I'm really ambitious, but I feel like I shouldn't be. And the backstory is so interesting with that, isn't it? But also the learnt behaviours, you know, that one was a massive eye-opener for me when I started doing the coaching tools. You know, we do them ourselves, don't we, as we go through the diploma, was the learnt behaviour, you know, something that you're actually pretty good at, but it's not from within you. It's something that you're good at and people want you to do because it'll help them, but it doesn't give you any joy. It doesn't give you any, you know, it doesn't get into that flow state that we talk about, you know, but it gets a job done. And so that one's so interesting when you start to shed light on that one being, you know, something that's maybe a bit, let's say, negotiable, you know, that strengths, we want to amplify them, the learned behaviour. Let's start to quieten them down a little bit. Sometimes you need to do what's necessary. But yeah, that one was amazing. And can I have one more?
Oh, go on then. Go on then.
I'll be short. As Helen knows, I do chat. So it's the river of life. I love the river of life as well. And the reason is, again, the professional women, they're coming through with stories that's happening on repeat. So it's the cycles of perfectionism, the cycle of people pleasing, absolutely exhausting them, driving them to the brink of their energy and reserve. And actually, when you do something like the river of life, you start to see the pattern, you start to see where it was coming from. And it's great just to give that bird's eye view of it, so we don't get bogged down in the individual events themselves, but it's using that knowledge to drive the conversation, the discussion about, you know, it's not, you don't, you know, a lot of people think, well, it's just the way I am, but actually, is it the way you are, or can we do something about that and rewrite some of this? So I love that, what that taps into. Yeah, and allows that creative side to come out.
Yeah, and I love that phrase you used, the story on repeat.
Yes,
because that's I remember when I first started doing work for myself with the company that I then trained with as a coach, and I suddenly said, oh, this is a cycle of behavior. This is a story on repeat. I've done this since I was 17, and that needs to stop. And that was to do with, for me, taking on too much and then becoming overwhelmed, and my reaction to that. And that I just love that phrase. It just says it all, really, doesn't it? A story on repeat.
It does. And so many of us, because I really strongly identify with these, you know, many of these traits as well, and to actually look back and see where it maybe the very first time, like you just said, at 17 it started. Okay, so it wasn't there, it's not part of you. So what can we do to let it, you know, let that grip, let the reins of control it has over your life just start to slacken off and allow you to flourish without it, you know, like you said, overwhelming you. Because all these things are there trying to help you and trying to protect you and trying to keep you safe, but actually, unfortunately, it's just not what we need. We need those to quieten down and for our true self to come through. So it's amazing. It's amazing when you see the stories emerge, isn't it? Yeah, I love that. And tapping on the drivers and injunctions, it's incredibly powerful. That's absolutely some of my, I've got too many favourites.
We do so much, don't we? We cover so much on the course.
You really do, yeah.
So in terms of, if you had to pick one question, that would be, your current favourite, what would it be?
That's so hard, isn't it? That is so tough. Yeah, I was thinking about this, and you know, the one I found most helpful, let's say in the last week, for example, is if you could do anything. If you could do anything or be anything or have your life look or feel like anything, and money and time and objects and people and external forces literally never came into it, what is it that you would do? What is it that you would do? Because so many of these women come stuck in the trenches. They use the phrase, going through the motions, and they describe themselves as being like, the swan on the surface. Everything looks really peaceful, but underneath, oh my gosh, the hard work keeping this going. And actually, if you could just stop for a moment and think, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? What is the change you want to see? And then let's work back from there. Now that we've got a sense of this, let it, feel it in your body, feel it in your mind, embody it, and then, okay, now let's work towards it. Yeah, that's probably my favorite at the minute, because a lot of women, I think it's this idea of getting them to look up again. We're so in the mire. So just look up, and what do you want? What do you want it to look like? That one is really powerful. Yeah, that's my fave this week.
Excellent. I like that. Your favorite this week. And I do think coaching does this, and all sorts of tools that I use do this. That idea of being stuck like this with your blinkers on, and then coaching, any personal development work, being on the coaching course, it starts to allow you to take the blinkers off and see with your peripheral vision and see the bigger picture, and that's where it becomes really, and start to see the future as well, and where you truly love to be. So I love that as well.
So you mentioned, it's so powerful.
So you mentioned that you are still GP some of the time. You're doing your coaching business. What else do you love to do in your life, SaraLou? What makes you happy?
Oh, what makes me happy? It's such a good question, because when you're working, and even when you're coaching, it's so important to not lose sight of the things that fill your cup up, So I am very mindful, and that's the key word here, isn't it? I'm very mindful to always get some movement into my day. So for me, it's going out with little Ted, the dog, getting out, walking through the woods, being in nature, just makes me feel so calm. And again, the problem solving you can do in amongst the trees is incredible. And having that movement that comes from the yoga as well, and some breath work. I'm going to be honest, I try to do that every day. Life happens. That's the thing with Ted. He's like a non-negotiable. We've got to go out, despite the weather. But the yoga just helps me feel so back into my body as well, and really calm. And the person, obviously my husband will be listening. He's very much brings me great joy, but it's my daughter, being with my daughter. She's just turned 4 this summer, and what an absolute dream and delight she is. Just being with her and seeing her grow and flourish is just the absolute best. My whole face just lights up.
It is, and what a lovely age to enjoy.
It's absolutely amazing. And she just gives me so much hope for the future, because she is just the epitome of, what we are underneath all our stress. So she is confident, and she's curious, and she explores, and she's got complete and utter self-belief. Like, yes, that is what we need to channel. We need to almost do like a factory reset, go back to what we were before life got really complicated, and just channel that inner preschooler when they're in their happy moments, when they're in their happy moments.
Perhaps not when they're, screaming. Not in their terrible twos.
Absolutely. When everyone's well slept, and we can get the shoes on and get out the door, that's all good.
Act like, reclaim your inner well-fed, well-slept toddler.
Yes, exactly. Who just believes they can, who just just heavily caveat it.
And what a lovely observation to make, to understand, having been through things yourself, to see your clients, to see your patients, and then to look at your daughter and say, oh my goodness, all of those beautiful strengths and skills and that mindset in that small person. We want to take that, and we want to explore it for ourselves, from ourselves. Where is it within us, and how did it get lost along the way?
Yeah, that's it. It's got lost along the way. It's got lost, or it's got shout it over the top of, or pushed out. A lot of the women, well, in fact, I say all the women that I see would say, they're literally the bottom of the pile. They prioritize everyone above themselves, whether that's at work or at home, friendships and family relationships. And so actually to encourage them to bring out that true essence of themselves again and really be curious and explore. It's just so beautiful to see when they reconnect. And I guess it's that reconnection with your true self, isn't it?
Yes.
And quietening down the noise that comes from outside and inside, because sometimes, it's our own thoughts are what's actually causing a lot of distress, and allowing them to find ways to quieten that down, make peace with it, be back in control of that emotional distress and dysregulation at times, is some of the most exciting work for sure.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So just as we come to a close, any time I spend with you, SaraLou, is going to be too short, because we could probably just talk for ages.
I think so. Yeah.
And if we don't keep it succinct, Tom will say, "Oh, I knew I should have been there."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So just as we come to the end of our sort of time together, it's so wonderful to hear you going out into the world and using your coaching skills, and that you've said that you use them right from the get-go, and we hear that all the time, how they change people's communication with everyone, the ripple effect in the world.
Yes.
But also that you're working in this capacity now, and that's amazing. We love that. So if you were to speak to another doctor who was thinking about our coaching program, what might you say to them?
Oh, I would not hesitate. In fact, I have spoken to lots of people about your coaching program. So do it. It is just the most wonderful diploma. The knowledge that you'll gain, the skills, the people that you will meet. You guys as the tutors are incredible and so knowledgeable, and really share with us that personal insight, which I think really makes the difference. And the people in your cohort you'll meet as well, you'll be friends with them for forever. Saying that to my cohort if they're listening. And I know in our cohort, some of us have gone on and set up our own coaching businesses and want to do that as their primary job. And other people are using it more in their day-to-day general practice. So you can use it as much as you want to in any walk of life that you can. So yeah, just do it. You will not regret it. It's one of the most, I think, nurturing, deeply thought out, really, what's a good word, psychologically focused coaching diploma. I did a lot of research on which diploma to choose, and this is the one that just felt truly holistic and truly nurturing, and giving us skills that would make such a difference for us personally and for the people that we're going to be working with. Yeah, that's short answer is do it.
Brilliant. I love that, because it is a journey for everyone as well. And I love that you use the word nurturing, because one of the things we absolutely endeavour to do is to create that psychologically safe environment so that people can explore for themselves the coaching tools as well. I
think you create that so well, because what I really like is, that any tool I invite someone to use in the coaching space, I've done it myself. And I know that some of them can feel really raw and emotive, and to be able to bring that, to discuss that with you guys in the cohort in that really safe way, just made the impact of it so much bigger than if you'd done it as a bit of a kind of cognitive exercise and, in your own little echo chamber. So that was such a huge part of how, kind of like, it's the doing that makes it stick, isn't it? It's the doing.
Yes.
So thank you for creating such an amazing atmosphere.
Well,
I really mean it.
You're
really
welcome. Thank you for coming on to this podcast, because it was just a joy to speak to you and find out. I know we've been in touch a couple of times, but just to find out really how it's all going for you and explore that. And it's an inspiration for us, as well as for hopefully everyone else, to hear your journey through that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I really mean it. I'm truly honoured to be invited on the podcast and get to share just how amazing I think coaching is, how amazing I think you guys are, and what an incredible journey to go on. So if anyone's sitting on the fence, has a question, I know they can always email you guys. You guys are so receptive, but they can pop an email through to me as well. I'm always happy to chat to people about, it's about creating community. It's about creating community, isn't it? I really believe in community. But no, I've absolutely loved every minute, and I'll try to stop talking now before Tom tells me off.
He's not here. It's fine. Brilliant. Thank you. And it'll be lovely to hear in the future how your business goes and how you develop as well as a coach. So once again, thank you very much.
I will be in touch. All right. Thanks, Helen.
So thank you, Dr SaraLou Wylie, for joining us today. And next time, Tom will return and we will be exploring another coaching challenge for you on the podcast. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.